As you've mentioned, not the best time to be the Condo King in Toronto. So you've seen it at its best. You see it at its worst right now. It's a bloodbath. What is going on?
We haven't seen the slowest level in the last 35 years. So this is really, really significant compared to any other recession. In 2026 first quarter, we are pretty much like zero launches.
So what you're saying is that the immigration is still going up, even though at a slower pace, but nothing is being built.
Yes.
But let's look at it from the perspective of investors right now. Is this like a very negative or a positive situation?
They are right now sitting on a cash pile rather than debt pile. It's a lifetime opportunity to get it. Long-term focus, but short-term rental.
If you have a condo downtown Toronto and it is Airbnb friendly, we can turn it into a money-making machine for you. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Listing. Edwin is giving birth, and I'm here with Sujan, the Condo King, who had over $1.5 million in sales.
1.5 billion.
1.5 billion, exactly. 1.5 million wouldn't be as exciting.
The 9 zeros.
Exactly. Another few zeros. And then 20 years in the game, which is super exciting. But before all of that, tell us how you got into it. What got you excited about the real estate in Toronto?
Thank you, Anton. Actually, you know what? It's a fortunate time frame to be and experience what is we are going through right now. But my education background is, I'm a Bachelor of Engineering and graduated in 1999 to get into, working on the IT sector right before the recession hit.
The 2008, right?
Pretty much like .com bubble, right?
Oh,
I was working in JDS, Nortel Networks, BlackBerry, like that those time. Then slowly, right after the recession, people getting laid off from Ottawa, I moved to Toronto and working in Celestica, IBM. And then I got my mortgage license. So I was slowly transition from being an engineer to lending side of it. And I used to own my as a principal broker. We call broker of record for real estate. This is principal broker for financing.
Right.
That's I worked for about 3 years. That time, you do lending, you helping clients to get mortgage and everything. But sometimes the clients comes, then they have money, but they don't know how to
what to do with the money. What would be the best?
More than that, like sometimes you end up doing some creative stuff to get them financing. So I thought, you know what, let me focus on the real estate side rather than just purely focusing on mortgages.
Makes sense.
Two things I chose because also the revenue stream, meaning there's more money involved in real estate transaction than on the lending side of it. So I switched my career. Since 2006 April, this is almost 20 year plus.
That's a lot of experience, and I find that engineering degrees, people who get engineering degrees, they're so universal. They can do anything because you're just taught the first principles almost, right? The way you think.
Yes, and we are problem solvers pretty much, right?
Exactly. So the engineers can literally do any type of job, right? So that's super awesome. Wonderful.
I consider.
Wonderful. That's awesome. Well, as you've mentioned, not the best time to be the Condo King in Toronto. So you've seen it at its best. You see it at its worst right now. And it's a bloodbath. What is going on?
Well, I mean, this is pretty much the third recession, I would say, because I experienced 2008, also 2017. But nothing like this we have seen in the history of real estate or the history of Toronto real estate, I would say.
What about in the 90s? I heard that in the 90s, early 90s, there was a big slump.
Yes, but that time compared to the population and compared to the housing demand, this is something different and very significant because we haven't seen the slowest level in the last 35 years. So this is really, really significant compared to any other recession. So now, in 2026 first quarter, we are pretty much like the zero launches. There's nothing is happening.
Of new condos.
Of new condos.
Yeah.
And immigration is, there was at point almost hitting 450 to close to 500,000 per year. Regardless of that drops to even 50%, but we need at least 70 to 80,000 newer household. Right, and Toronto is not doing that anymore because supply and demand and cost of living is hitting crazy amount of price point and people cannot afford anymore.
Right. So what you're saying is that the immigration is still going up, even though at a slower pace, but nothing is being built.
Yes, there are three factors mainly that affecting. We always talk about the neighboring country and the tariff and the affordability, higher interest rate. But the main problem, people cannot afford anymore. And when I started real estate selling pre-con, we started at $250 per square foot.
Okay.
This is considering a price point. To give you an example, you could buy an affordable, decent sized 2-bedroom under 350,000.
But that was a while back.
Yes, but right now, those are, at peak point, which is 2022 May or first quarter of 2022, was reaching well over 1.2, 1.3 million. That's like threefold, or I would say at least fourfold some of the areas. And in terms of within that 20-year time span, how much the average household income increased, not even doubled.
No.
Right? We are almost at tenfold right now per average household income compared to affordability standard.
Right. So if you had to drill into the main, let's say, three issues that are affecting the current decline in the condo market, what would you say they are? Because right now we're speaking about general things, but what are these three?
Affordability, higher interest rate, that's also adding up, and the price point. The price point and affordability comes both ways. When I say affordability, because of what they're earning and the cost of living.
But the affordability, as you said, at the peak of 2022, it was still not anything crazy, right?
Yes, but 2022 was the peak, what we are seeing right now, right? So it's like almost like we zoom out and looking at from 2026, what went up, or what was 2022 first quarter price, and comparing the last 50 or 60 year real estate history, we were at the peak 2022 May or first quarter of 2022. Right. That price point never hit in the history of Toronto real estate, and people still afford to buy, or people still considered, the price is still going up, I can afford and I can buy. Only one thing, pure speculation.
You're right.
And the second thing, the money, the cost of borrowing was literally free. We were at the point, you could get a 25 or 30 amortization with 5% or 10% down for a first time buyer with almost 1% interest rate or 1.5. HSBC was offering 0.99 for commercial mortgage that time.
That's wild.
So that's wild.
I didn't get that, but
right. Okay. So it's just a money printing, quantitative easing, they right after COVID. So everybody was like, let's spend a little more money. So money was easily available, and people never considered there might be a time, the mortgage rate is going to be 3 times higher.
So it's affordability because of the higher mortgage rate, because it's much more expensive now to basically carry these units. Before, you would have purchased it, and your let's say long-term renter or tenant would basically cover those expenses. Now that the interest rates are way higher, they can't be covered. It's not as enticing. You have to put the money back, hoping that it's going to increase in price, and now it's even coming down. I mean, we'll get into that, but let's look at it from the perspective of investors right now. Is this like a very negative or a positive situation? And I think there is always two sides of the coin.
Absolutely. Like, as an investor point of view, who have never experienced such chaotic negative cash flow situation, or they are right now sitting on a cash pile rather than debt pile, it's a lifetime opportunity to get in. Why? Because people who have already accumulated multi assets, or they have multiple units, they are negatively cash flow affected, and there is no other way to exit right now because we are sitting on a slowest price point of the market.
And even if they're going to list it, it's going to they better have a very nice unit, and they better have a very attractive price, or they're just not even selling it, not even for a low price. They're not selling. Like, people are just not going to buy it. I'll give you an example. We purchased about half a year ago, we purchased a condo for my stepsister, and basically we had all the options. And to be fair, all the, like, there's a lot of good inventory that wasn't there when we were speaking, because people with very good units, they're like, I'll just hold on to them. But you can pick the best, right? And only the best units are going to sell. If the washroom is not perfect or something like that, it's not going, because people are going to pick the other one, and you can negotiate. You can be like, I'll give you this much. And then they're like, oh, I'll give you. Before it was like 50,000 people putting in offers, bidding wars, right?
And you can't even put any conditions, pretty much like a cash deal type.
Of
Meaning,
course.
you put on an offer and there's no condition whatsoever.
Right. And what I'm saying is that the reason that unit got sold and we purchased it, because it was a beautiful corner unit. The price was fine, right? I'm sure maybe if she bought it now, it would have been a little bit cheaper, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, she needed a place to stay. But what I'm saying, people still need to live somewhere, because she was renting, right? And now she has her own place, so she has the money, she wants to buy something. So there is stuff, but only the best stuff is going to get sold, because now because before people were buying shoe boxes. She has windows in both bedrooms. It isn't, again, like maybe it's like 700 square feet or something, but it's a very nice, beautiful layout, really nice vibe. So these units, they'll still sell, but not for a lot, number one. Number two, there's a handful of those. A lot of units that are not phenomenal. Good luck selling that.
Absolutely. You hit on, some of the major points, like when as an investor or even an end user, like things to look for, like decent layout, livable space, balcony, floor to ceiling windows, and also, and these things, it doesn't matter which building or which location you are investing, like you have to look for certain things. And also height is really important. Sometimes we look for, price point entry level, and then we buy something in a lower floor, or maybe in a not corner unit, or just in the middle of somewhere where you don't have any view, just obstruction. People pay for the premium, but that will help you out on the next strategy when you are selling it.
Right, and that's the whole point, right? Because before, people would pay for the premium of the view. Now they're not paying for the premium. The owners cannot get the premium out of it, but they get a premium by being on top of the decision-making process, right? Like right now, nobody's going to be paying extra for the view. I mean, it depends on the view, but if it is a nicer view, your apartment is going to get sold first over somebody else.
But also it plays negatively too, because if you are not choosing the right strategy, and if you are not knowledgeable enough, and you ask whoever helping you are not knowledgeable, in the future, let's say you bought something in 10 years ago, and the next year there's a building coming right opposite. You can find out, like, is there any application has been submitted already? What is the plan?
For sure.
Your surrounding neighborhood. So it doesn't make sense for someone paying 50,000-60,000 premium and then end up seeing after 5 years when they walked into the unit, there's a building right opposite.
No, 100%. Like, the research has to be done, and it needs to be done properly, for sure. So and then, okay, let's say that's that's when people are selling, investors are selling, they're in a bit of a difficult situation. They will probably sell it at a lower price, of course. If they have a nice unit, they have a chance of selling it. If they don't have a nice unit, it won't even move, because they will get, unless they're just putting such a low price where they're getting lowballed, and because they have to sell for specific reasons.
One more thing, condo fee. Sometimes on paper, before you buying it, they will say 59 cents, 60 cents, but the minute you moved in, the price jumped to 90 cents, $1. Speaking of, you might come across a lot. Carrying cost eat up your profit margin and your cash flow. And no matter whether you are carrying a mortgage on your unit or you paid off free and clear, but your condo fee never goes away.
Yes.
So your maintenance fee, you have to be careful on, who's the management and how are they managing, how is the building,
That's
and
very
the
important.
amenities. That is really, really important.
It is very important, because fiscally irresponsible board is a big issue, and it's very important to have the right people on the board, and those people are volunteers, because I see it all the time. My stepdad is on 1 or 2 boards, and it's a lot of work, and it's very important that people are good with numbers. So that's when people are selling. When people are buying, this is probably a safari right now. And this is I tell everybody, I tell all my friends and family, be like, this is the time to buy a condo because, I mean, might get a little bit cheaper, but it's it's around this very low point where you can invest into an asset that in 3 to 5 years it has to grow, because you mentioned nobody's building, population is growing. It's going to be reversed. You're going to have to wait a little bit. But this, if you have the cash, if you are looking to invest, this is, I mean, in my opinion, what do you think in that?
One of the best in time in the history of Toronto real estate. I can back it up with so many things. The average, we were selling close to, in a healthy market time, about 17,000 to 25,000 units per year on pre-construction, newer units getting.
When was this?
This is going back all the way from 2018, 19 until 2023. So
the pre-COVID and COVID years.
Yes. Even after COVID, like we were getting closer to like 15, 16,000. So in a healthy market, close to 20,000, let's average it to 20,000. But right now, especially last year, 2024, less than 4,000 units sold in the entire greater Toronto area, Hamilton.
Wild.
And when we were comparing that was slowest, almost 70 to 80% slower than 2023. But now 2025, Q1, first quarter, not even 16, close to 16,000 units sold. That's the slowest ever in the last 35 years.
You mean 2026, this year?
Yes, this year.
So you said 2025. So 2026 and 1,600, or how many?
1,600.
Right.
So what we are, like, when you are comparing these things, two things, like this comes to.
Yeah, I mean,
like
it's a huge, and you were talking about 50 to 20,000 a quarter.
No, per year.
Per year. Okay,
60,
so divided by 4, so 5, so 5,000, let's say, and now you saw 1,600. That's a massive drop, right?
And when you are comparing like pre-con, like you have to understand, it takes at least 3.5, 4, at least 4 to 5 years
to build it.
To build an average good size, 45, 50 story building, unless we are in Shanghai, like, China, they can build something in probably 18 months.
And if you have like 5 or 6 stories smaller, and that's what I hear from, I was speaking to somebody, a developer or somebody else in the space, right? It was a commercial mortgage broker, right? And he was saying what type of commercial mortgages they're giving out for construction, and there's still construction happening, but they're for smaller units, multiplexes, basically 12, 1,500 square foot units for families, but they're like 4 or 5 stories, and there's maybe like 8, 10 units per building, because that still makes sense. Building, you said 40-story right now is not really a great option.
So like Jeff Bezos said, like once, like, they celebrate in a quarterly meeting and the sales hit, and we celebrate and say, oh, we surpassed 10%, 15% growth. We had to understand, to celebrate that, they pre-planned 1 year ago.
Oh, 100%. Whatever you do today, you're gonna reap the rewards in a year or even further down the line.
So for the pre-con, we pre-planned 4 years ago, 5 years ago, right? So coming back to the question, how it's going to be like 2028, 29, it's going to hit especially 29, 30 timeline. There is absolutely zero supply, delivery of newer condos.
So what's going to happen
into the market? More than that, a lot of houses right now, construction on currently available inventory, being switched to affordable, right? Okay. So developers kind of shifting the gear from,
because they're getting subsidies and stuff, right?
Yes, they're getting some incentive by the CMHC.
Exactly.
So they are shifting, focusing as an investor or end user compared to building themselves and converting into rentals,
right,
where they can subsidize and get some government incentive for them. That's a survival mechanism rather than profitable mechanism, or they are focusing, because for the short time to weather the storm, this is necessary.
Right.
But as an investor, for us, what is the future, or what do you think in the current market? But this is a right, perfect opportunity as an investor if you really have cash in hand, or if you have access to where you can get mortgage and look for opportunities, you should focus on the resale market more compared to pre-con. But we are pre-con, but we are focused more onto bulk deal. Negotiating with the developer, we understand what is the inventory looks like and what we used to sell. Those are almost like 65 cents a dollar discounted right now. We are getting 35% discounted price. Some of them are even more than that. And you can cherry pick and choose the best layout, best floor plan, best view in your terms.
Yep.
Best payment structure.
Right. And I even read that there's a big Montreal company that just basically purchasing, I think they did a $20 million purchase of a bunch of condos that are being finished, and they're looking to expand that into $500 million because they're just sweeping those up. Because they're, I guess, that's my question. What is your prognosis? So you said 2029. So what is going to happen in 2029?
Well, we shouldn't fall for like sometimes we say 2029, 30. Okay, even that time, the demand is going to be high, price is going to go up, but it's to come back to 2022 price, it may take probably more than 6 years, right?
Right.
So I don't want to over sugarcoat and say, hey, in 2029, we are lower supply, the price is going to come back, but it's not going to come back to the level where you used to sell Yorkville $2,000 a foot, or somewhere around $1,850 a foot north of that price range. But my advice to the client, always look for the cash flow. And if you can carry your unit, if the rental income is sustaining it, absolutely, that should be your benchmark underwriting guidelines, and say, you know what, how much I'm putting in as a down payment, what is my carrying cost? Even if you want to go further, narrow it down, your cost per square feet compared to what is your rental income per square feet.
Right. And I was going to ask, and I think you started touching on, what is the solution then? What is the solution for the people who are in trouble?
Well,
I have a solution, but I want...
That's why I'm here with you, Anton. You are the expert and the king of Airbnb management.
Maybe I should be the king of Airbnb.
So
I have a Condo King.
I'm going to be asking those needy questions, because this is going to help my clientele, because every single time now we're getting calls, it's not just to buy. They say, Sujan, I can't afford to carry my unit anymore, or I can't afford to close my unit anymore. And what is the solution? Rental is slow. Rental income is slow. I'm negative cash flow of 1,500, 2,000. Used to be lower, like 300, 400 a month, they can manageable. And also it's a write-off for them. For example, someone making 100,000 household income, no matter what they are paying to CRA, at least 27, 30,000. Lowest at least 20,000, right? So if you are owning a investment unit where you are losing 500 a month, that is 6,000 a year. Still the 6,000 is a write-off because you are already paying the CRA 30,000 or 20,000. But considering you owning multiple units, like your carrying cost is getting more than 3,000-4,000.
It's rough.
Negative
for a
cash
lot
flow
of
is rough.
people.
More than paying a mortgage, but how do you manage to pay that mortgage?
Yeah, because you literally have a job just to pay for.
Exactly,
that.
or and your saving is drying up. You have a shorter runway.
Yeah, and you're putting savings into it, and the price is dropping, so your equity in the unit is
underwater.
It's very tough. So, well, I mean, we have a solution, obviously. We do have a lot of people calling in and coming to us saying, look, long-term rental doesn't make sense anymore because with all the new mortgage rates and with everything, we can't afford to carry this house, this condo, whatever the unit is. And what we're seeing is that it will depend on obviously what area you're in. But if you're a condo downtown Toronto, we're seeing worst case scenario with no parking, not like a super attractive view or whatever, you'll make 30% more from whatever you're making long term, right? Up to 90%, depending on how things go.
Okay, so I have let's say, based on my past experience, we sold more than 1,000, 2,000 units, help the clients of more than 1,000 clients. So if I need to help someone who's in the need of negative cash flow and say, Sujan, is there any short way of making money for short-term rental? Since you are the king of Airbnb, Can you help me and say what are the main things that people look for to buy before? But even before buying, like if they're already owning a unit and they had to reach out to you, is there any specific building only that they are allowing, or can you help them to find a better way to maneuver differently?
Right. So it's 2 to 3 questions over here. And question number 1 is, let's say they own currently a condo and their negative cash flow, like literally they might have to sell it and just, lose a lot of money on it. Or maybe there is a solution where they can carry it a little bit and then wait for that 2029, 2030, where they might not be able to sell it for 22 prices, but they're not going to be too much underwater, or at least they break even, depending on what when they bought it, or make some money on it.
Yeah.
So it depends on what the building is, as you mentioned, because if it's a condo, it has to be an Airbnb-friendly building. And in Toronto, especially downtown, there's maybe 15 to 20 buildings that allow Airbnb officially.
Okay.
And all over Toronto, there's maybe another 5, 10, maybe 15. I'm not sure the full number because we can't check every single building, but we know the most popular ones, right? And if you are in those buildings, then you're sitting on a gold mine. Like I said, you're making from 30 to 90% more than a long-term rental after everything, not everything like mortgage payments, but after our commission, after hospitality expenses, which are cleanings and restockings and even small repairs here and there. So you are making that bread between, and if you, again, parking, nice view, you're closer to that 90%, 50% to be safe, right? You're definitely there. And that's only though for Airbnb friendly condos or houses, because houses you can do whatever you want. Townhouses mostly you can do whatever you want as well, because management is not on site, nobody cares. But houses can be in Toronto, they can be in Brampton, they can be in Scarborough. That will make a huge difference in terms of the income. Some people come to me from Brampton and they say, hey, I'm paying this much mortgage, like, blah, 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 I want to make this much money. I'm like, I don't know how much you'll make. Do you want me to lie to you? Right? Like if you want to do short-term rental, we can help you, but maybe long-term is actually going to be a more steady solution for you. We can try, but you have to invest a lot of money staging it. It's a big house, 4-bedroom. It's going to cost you 20 grand getting it ready, right? And I might be a bad salesman, but that's what I tell people.
Okay. Well, you're telling the truth. Like
I am, but trust me, people try and sell, the moon in the sky, and then they deal with the consequences later. I don't like that. So what happens is that if you have a condo downtown that allows Airbnb, I say, listen, this is an amazing solution. You should definitely do it. We're seeing really great rates, especially in the summer. And if you do have a condo that's not Airbnb friendly, unfortunately, it's very tricky. We don't usually recommend doing it. So you can't really do much. You can sell it, and then to answer your second question, what if people are looking to purchase something? Then I say, obviously, that's my business. I say,
reach out to you or reach out to us and say, you know what, which building, first find out.
Exactly.
And even you finding out which building, and more than which building management is more linear than the other one.
Well, it's really not about management. It's in the Condo Act. You can't, it's not the management decides to do it or not. It's in the Condo Act. You're either allowed or you're not allowed. If it's not allowed, then some management, they don't care, but that's pure luck, and I wouldn't recommend doing that because it's not in the Condo Act. It has to be in the Condo Act. Short-term rentals are allowed. And then, of course, why I would recommend doing that is because you can do it long-term, you can do it short-term, you can live there. Some short-term rental buildings I would not recommend living in because they're not, they're a bit of a disaster. Because
can you name some of them? If you can.
We all know Ice Condos. We all know, I can't remember the address on Jarvis. We're actually launching a property over there.
I think probably 319 Jarvis.
I don't want to, or four, I think it's like 471.
Ice Condo is allowed.
Yes, they do allow short-term rentals.
Which is 12 York
and listen, and Ice Condos, they make a lot of money. Like they just rent for a lot per night. So you're making good money as a short-term rental. I'm just saying, don't buy it to live there. And there's some short-term rentals like 105 George that are fantastic to live in. My father has a unit there. I've lived there for 3 months at some point in time when I sold my place and had to live somewhere.
105 George, that's posthouse condo, right? Posthouse.
Exactly, posthouse. So it's actually a lovely place to live. So some of them are fine to live. It's just some of them are being mismanaged on large scale by players in this industry. And I tell everybody that Unfortunately, short-term rentals get a bad rap in Toronto or everywhere because there's a lot of hasslers versus business people. And these people don't vet guests. There's parties, there's a disaster. They don't care. They don't have that level of responsibility. We have a brand, we have a name. We want to uphold that name. We want to make sure that we put good guests. So all our units, we don't have parties. Everybody is good, but not everybody is like that. So what I would say is then again, buy an Airbnb-friendly condo because you can do all the three options versus unless you want a specific place, very high-end that doesn't love Airbnb and just for specific reasons. But as an investment, I would be looking into that, right? And yeah, and I don't remember your third question, but this is
Okay, but the third question, I don't even remember too.
yeah, it was more all together, but yeah, but this is, you know, in hindsight, that's what you're looking at.
Okay, now let's say they chose the location. Let's say they bought some unit at ICE or even 65, 55
65 Bremner
which is
rate,
right
yeah.
opposite Maple Leaf. I mean, right on the Maple Leaf
That
building.
that building performs very well.
And also I advise the clients when they're buying condos also, proximity to the subway line pretty much. It's really, really
Can't
important.
hurt.
And also the footwalk traffic, right? Because those two are really, really important in terms of demand and for the rental. So this adding to Airbnb, let's say someone owns units in there because we have tons of clients in those two buildings. And what about 10 York Tridal? Do they allow?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so let's say focus on these two, 12 York, 14 or 65 Bremner. How do they reach out to you? And what is the next plan of action?
Right.
The reason I'm asking, because some of them, they already have a tenant in place, right? So we had to serve them in 11 or in 12 and say, you know what, we are ending the long-term rental agreement, or end of the renewal comes in and we can give them a 60-day notice. And now,
Exactly.
but you had to walk through now, like say, just explain to the clients and it reach out to you and say, okay, Anton, you know, I have a rental unit, but it's coming for renewal and I'm interested in doing short-term rental. How can you help?
Right. So, and to answer your question, people come from different places, referrals, Airbnb, because we're official partners with Airbnb. We actually just met them last week with their management, talked through World Cup and everything. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
But basically, what happens is once they find us, right, we have a conversation and we ask them all these questions. So you have a condo, fantastic. Is it Airbnb friendly? Then they say, oh, I have a condo 65 Bremer. Like, lovely. We have 2 penthouses at 65 Bremner. We know the building, we know the management, we know the concierges. It's a little bit of a process getting approved because there's, you know, lots of papers you need to get ready for them.
Okay.
You need to get the short-term rental license. It needs to be your principal residence. Like, listen, if we're going to go through the onboarding process, we're going to be here for 2 hours. It's a very, I think it's 150 questions we need to go through. And I'm not even joking. Like, we don't send it to them. Well, we do send it to them and it's very beautifully optimized in Google, whatever thing is, right? Google question area, whatever. But we say, we send it to you, but let's jump on the call and go through it together, right? Because it would be very heavy, but there's just so much involvement in setting things up. And that's why people think, oh, I'll just do an Airbnb. They don't realize if you want to do it properly, if you want it to succeed, how difficult it is and how much time it involves in setting it up well, right? Of course, you can just put your place up on Airbnb and call it a day, just take some photos with your iPhone, but it's also going to perform in comparison to the level of effort, right? And people are just astonished at how much work it is. So without getting into every single step, is that there is preparation step in terms of documents, right? Of course, to make sure that you're compliant with the building, you're compliant with the city, everything is good on that end. Fantastic. Then you need to also stage and prepare the property for people to come and stay there. Clean it, take professional photos, right? Even professional photos are a huge difference.
Speaking of investment in terms of staging, right? Meaning they had to furnish their units.
Yes.
Roughly for a 2-bedroom, how much investment we are looking at?
Right. For example, we have a staging interior decor in-house and we charge $14,000 plus HST for the full setup. Like they literally get an iron, a shoehorn, vacuum cleaner, aside from all the beds and sheets and towels. The checklist of items is literally 100.
Which is not bad. Like that 14K of investment, they should be able to get that ROI in 8 to 10 months.
You'd be surprised how many people are pushing back on why is it so expensive. This and I'm like, do it yourself. And they'll probably spend 8-9 grand, but they're going to be doing it from 2 weeks to a month. It is insane amount of work. And by saying 2 weeks to a month, it's like 5 to 8 hours a day on top of their job. So they're going to be literally living, to do it properly. Like you can do it however you want, but to do properly, that everything is done. And also you're getting professional designer help, right? Like you're getting a beautifully designed unit, and you're saving that time towards focusing on your business, on your job, on your family, on your kids. So it's very important. So it's actually very reasonable.
And also, once it's sustained and running well, even if they are right after they decided to sell, they can still promote it as hey, Airbnb friendly and it's currently operating, and they can sell it too. At least they can show the track record. But they don't want it, they can keep it and keep continuing, because why would they sell it if they are making already enough money?
Right? And that's the idea. That's how we kind of sell our clients. I say, listen, maybe it's going to perform so well that you're not going to want to sell it in the future. Because a lot of people are coming to us now because they can't sell. We have a house we onboarded, a $4 million, it probably would have been a $5 million house a few years back. They're trying to sell it for $3.6 million. They can't. And it's a custom made, beautiful home. And it's just sitting there doing nothing. So they reached out. They're like, can you do this? And we're having like $2,000 a night bookings right now for June. We already have 2 bookings at that rate. Like that's incredible. They're just gonna, instead of making 0, they're going to make that much money. And that's like really great news. But it was an immense amount of work getting that place ready. An immense amount of work and a lot of money, because they got nicer furniture, because it's a high-end home. But over time it's going to yield results. Maybe it's going to do so well, they're not going to want to sell it. Who knows? So
True.
It's so there is, and again, in my opinion, that's one of the solutions, right? One solution is to sell, another solution is to do long-term rental, and there is option for short-term. Not everybody can because of regulations, and again, if a condo doesn't allow it, you can't really do it. But if you can, it's almost like, I tell people, it's almost like a life hack, or like a trick that nobody told me before. I've made so much money on my condo, I made over 100% more on my condo because I don't charge myself 20%. If I charge myself 20% commission that we charge, I would have made like 95% more. It's insane.
Amazing. So Anton, just answer like kind of short in a nutshell. Someone who bought a unit or who already have a unit at some other building where Airbnb friendly, and they just want to start it immediately. How much money they need it, and what percentage they will get? And is there any monthly, cost that they had to pay out of their own pocket?
Fantastic question. Fantastic question. So let me break it down in 2-3 components. Component number 1, setting it up.
Okay.
And let's call it a 2-bedroom.
Okay.
Right, 2-bedroom, nice view, parking. Okay. That's the criteria, right? Okay. No parking, 20% less. Okay. No view, hard to judge, but not as much demand for it. So nice view, nothing spectacular, with parking, 2-bedroom, 2 washroom, okay. Right? It doesn't have to be big. Okay. You're looking to spend $14,000 on staging. Okay. And $1,500 to $2,000 on other setup costs. We charge an onboarding fee, $500, photography, cleaning, licensing is almost $400 for the city, right?
Okay. The licensing is a yearly?
It is yearly, exactly. Okay. So $400 a year. So all those costs, additional costs, are going to be probably around $1,500 to $2,000, depending on the state of the unit.
So let's say $16,000.
Yeah, exactly. And as long as there's no need for any significant renovations or like a handyman jobs, because sometimes you have to repaint the whole thing, that's another $3,000. Okay. So let's say the unit is in good condition and doesn't need any additional work. This is how much you're going to pay to get it going, $15,000 to $16,000, right?
Okay. And then you are on the get-go, like the next week, right away, it's generating income.
Pretty much, as long as we have all the photos, as long as everything is done, we go very fast. We take 2 weeks to stage, another week to take photos, clean it photos, and build the listing, and it takes a few days for Airbnb to throw it up on there. Okay. So within 3 weeks, we get everything launched, and it's fantastic after people sign the contract. Once you're there, what people should expect is, I would say, from $45,000 to $65,000 a year, in their pocket after all the expenses, including our 20% commission, including all the cleanings, including all the restockings, right?
Okay.
Buying Lysol, toilet paper, all that stuff throughout the year. People get that amount in their bank account. Why I give that kind of a little bit of a breath is because different years are different. There's different events happening. Then also, again, different exposures, et cetera, et cetera. But average, I would say, should be around 50,000, 55,000 is
Okay, let's say for even 48,000, that's like 4,000 a month for you to manage your mortgage plus the condo fee, right? The rest of the expenses covered pretty much. This is a pretty much a great option for them to consider than worrying about, I'm not making enough on the rentals, so how do I manage to carry this because of the income is low?
Well, I think so. I think so. So realistically,
you guys are the rescue mission, pretty much.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. You would know better. A unit like that would probably rent for 3,000, 3,500 max.
At today's market, no, not even 2,800. Some of them are even lower.
Okay, well, let's say 2,800 to 3,200 is the breadth.
I would say probably 26, 2,400. The going rate right now. Plus, you can add another 150 for a parking for a decent 2 bedrooms.
So it's not even that high, eh? That's wild.
But some of the buildings are more, but then the condo fee is eating up entire property.
Right, but let's not take those. Yeah. We're just comparing apples to apples. So they would, let's call it even 3,000. Okay. Let's give them, let's say, nice unit. 3,000 if they make if they rent it long term, they're at $3,000. We all know the benefits of long term. We all know downfalls. People might not pay. They will destroy the unit. They're not paying. You can't get them out for a long time. That's all great, but let's just look at the numbers. So the numbers are 3,000 here, and I would be extremely surprised if we see anything below 4,000 on average a month. Of course, in the summer you'll make like 10 grand. In the winter, you can sometimes make 2 grand. Depends on the situation. But on average, again, I cannot imagine a 2-bedroom making less than like 48,000, which is 4,000 a month, clean in your pocket. The same way you get. And by the way, 3,000, people are gonna have to give you $3,000 plus HST up for 1 month of rental. So that's even less than 3,000.
Yeah.
So that's So we're looking at that, and that number is a lower number, 30%. But what if some of our units are making 55 to 60,000 in their pocket? 2 bedrooms. Absolutely. So you're looking at a much higher number there. It's 4,500, 4,800 a month. You're looking at now more than 50%, right? So that's why I said 50% is a nice area to be comfortable. Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Well, this is really helpful, and I think all of my clients should be notified, and I will talk to a few of them already. Currently, I'm helping them. And first, we need to identify which building, and then I will reach out to you also in terms of finding the right building and
my
connecting
number
with you.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm very honest. If this is not the right path for people, I'm not gonna try and sell them things that are gonna bite them in the butt and are gonna make me look bad. There's no point, because this is not a hustle. As I said, a lot of people in this business, this is a long-term business, long-term commitment. I want people to succeed. I was just talking to a client saying, look, your property is not in the sexiest area outside of the airport, and there is no demand for it at the price that you want, even in the summer. We also want it to be higher in price, but you cannot rent it in this area based on all the statistics, based on all the competition. Nobody's going to rent it for the price you want, because it's just not there. Because we already had a lower price and nobody's renting it. We had like 3 reservations in the summer. It means we have to come down on price. She's like, no, I'd rather it sit empty. And I said, I get it. Maybe you should look at a long-term rental option, because then you can rent your basement, your upstairs, and you will make more money overall, because that is a better solution for you. But saying that I just want to make this money and that's it is also not a solution here, because you need to understand the market. So short-term rental is not always the answer. And I tell them, but if you have a condo downtown that allows short-term rentals, it is a gold mine. Okay. Like it is people in the space who manage all over Ontario, different areas from Muskokas to different places. When somebody comes to them and say, where would be the best bang for your buck? They will all say at the same time, a downtown Toronto condo. They are even thinking, should I buy a downtown Toronto condo and then just do it? Because they know the numbers, they're not comparable to anything else.
Speaking of location, yes, the proximity, especially now we need to talk about the FIFA World Cup
Right.
craziness. And I heard even outside of Toronto, the rental demand for, this short term for like that month of June, July, it's getting really hype.
You mean like it's all storytelling and it's not real actually?
Now, let's talk about that. Now, considering you as, short-term rental king, how
I
are you
like that.
guys, how are you guys keep up the demand? That's number one. And number two, because you don't want to mislead the client and say, hey, because of World Cup is coming, let me buy you a condo. No, this is one of the reason, like, there are so many events, activities. Toronto is always Toronto. We living in one of the world class G7 country, and within 1.5 hour of flight travel, like you are connected to so many world class cities, more than, I would say, close to 20 million to 50 million population.
Yeah,
Toronto is always busy, especially downtown. That's why I even never advise or fan of selling condos in even outside of Toronto, even Hamilton. Now,
we're aligned on that.
people used to sell something in Alberta, but go back and check the price appreciation in the last 10 years. Probably 5%, not even. And right, the only merits for them to sell, Toronto is, compared to Toronto price is 1/3. Let's go buy, right? But when time comes back, Toronto is going to bounce back. My friendly advice is like, as long as you buy the right product, pay the right price, and look for the right building, leave the price point of appreciation, because Toronto is going to help you out what Toronto do at its best. It's always come back.
It's one of the major cities in the world. You can't take it away from it.
Exactly.
Right? It's going to be still top 20, 30 cities. I mean, look, Alberta is a different conversation. I think it's up and coming, and I think it's going to have a lot of future with this whole energy situation right now in Calgary. But it's still not Toronto, and it's still not top 30 cities, 20 cities, right, in the world. And Toronto's Toronto. It's one of the 5, 6 major cities in North America, right? Like, it's massive.
Absolutely. Now, so FIFA.
Right.
What is that? What is the topic? What are you working on? What are you busy with?
Well, I'll tell you, I think that FIFA is a total disaster for the short-term rental market, and we're seeing thousands of units just basically sitting empty. Everybody thought they're gonna rent their places $1,000 per room, like in Qatar. And the conversations in Airbnb community was like, oh, I'll have a 5-bedroom house. I'll put it for $5,000 a night. I'm like, okay, that's a little bit excessive, right? And a very average house too, right? Like, it's nice, but it's not like high end or anything, right? Not what we discussed, like custom home, no. And but we still priced everything pretty high. People who are professionals in the industry priced everything obviously like 2-3 times, sometimes 4 times higher than it would be in the summer usually. And I'll tell you something. July and August are looking way better than June.
Okay.
And June is a mess. 2 things, 3 or even 4 things happen, major things. Number one thing, I've never had that many phone calls from friends and family and everybody being like, oh, should I put my apartment for short-term rental? I'm like, absolutely not, because first of all, you're not going to make a lot of money. And number 2, because you're going to spend a lot of money setting it up. So what's going to happen after the licensing, all these things, photos, or you want to do iPhone photos? Okay, sure. How much are you going to put it for? $150, right? Like, what's the point of that? That's a regular night cost in the summer. Yeah. And you're going to collapse the market. And people have collapsed the June market. There's thousands of units that are available just for this month. We did the research. We looked. There's just so many units. I want to rent it for FIFA. Thank you. You're killing us, and you're not going to get rented either. And basically, the prices, we're just starting to lower and lower the prices till they're going to find equilibrium. I don't know if they're probably just going to end up being regular summer prices because of whatever the hell happened. And the stadium is also fine. It has 54,000 seats or whatever it is, 52, 54. And a lot of games in Toronto are from the countries that do not have the visa accessibility. They need to get they need a visa to get accessibility. And Canada doesn't give out visas like this. So all the African countries, are these people even going to come for these games? Or it's going to be people with Canadian American passports or European from those countries who will be able to travel in? I don't know. So whatever is happening, it is really bad. So we're aggressively now watching every single day the prices. We're working with them, but it's not a peachy situation.
So rather than like falling for the short-term hype, look for the long-term gains of just a steady income of short-term
100%, like a regular concert night for, I don't know, Bruno Mars is making more money than some of the FIFA. Okay, we got a few nice FIFA bookings, but in general, it is not what people.
But we have always something happening in Toronto, so we can.
Exactly, but what I'm trying to say is that certain nights are getting booked for the same amount of same number as the FIFA was expected to book and didn't even book yet. That are just concerts that are, what's the I don't remember the names of the country singers, but the famous country singer guys coming early June. We're having like $450, $500 nights, right? That's where World Cup is probably gonna end up being. So when we priced it at $1,000 a night for the owner, like $1,400 for the guest, nothing for a 2-bedroom. So now we're already coming down. An Airbnb that we met with last week, we're saying that on average it should be about $700 for a 2-bedroom for a guest to pay. We were double, and not just us, everybody. Some people were even like triple, quadruple, right? From what the reality is. So reality is not as exciting, or it was oversold. So exactly the point. It would have been nice, and it still might be a little bit more than on average. It would have been nice bonus for people who are already doing it, but you should not make your strategy around an event like that. It should be something that you want to do long-term and just benefit from it, if anything.
Long-term focus, but short-term rental.
Exactly. I like that. That should be our, I should tell my marketing team to put that up as as a slogan. Yeah, it's it's not what it seems to be. What are you seeing anything on your, I mean, you're in sales, so it's a little bit different, but in general.
We are more focused, driven on long-term investment growth. So people don't call us and say, hey, it's FIFA game coming, let me buy a condo.
Yeah.
But we try to help the clients in terms of their inventory and say, can you find me a rental, right? But because of these few things are happening, more busier, too much noise, and you guys are more involved in the Airbnb, so I kind of asked you this question, and how are you guys managing it, or are you guys getting more traffic? And also, even somebody wanted to do, because of the process, it takes more than closer to 2 to 3 weeks. It's hard for them to get in now.
I mean, now it's, and again,
I wouldn't say hard, but
it's not even worth it, right? If we were renting, if a regular night, let's say for a unit would have been for a 2-bedroom last year, some of the nights were $500 for a client. The client got $450, $500 a night. Right? Not even like a super concert night. Guests paid even more because there's fees, whatever, right? Taxes. We are going to be coming close to that price right now. We're at like $650 right now for the client. Right? That they're gonna receive per night, and we're still a lot of units are still not booked. And again, we'll get them booked, right? But at what price point might be lower than a regular night last year in the summer, which is wild. So that's what I'm saying. It's not like, oh wow, we're gonna make them $1,500 a night. People should really hurry up to get before World Cup. It doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't really matter. It was a selling point for us. Hey, join us and we'll get you ready for World Cup. Sure, but we knew that it would have been maybe nice. But at the end of the day, we want a client so we can have make money throughout the whole year, not just for that.
So can you name few buildings that you are managing that you are a fan of that location? Other than 14 York.
If I told you, I'd have to kill you. That's actually a good question, but this is like, I'll tell you privately. I have no problem doing that. Sure. But it is it's intellectual property, because we've come across, we've gathered this information over the years of managing.
That's why you guys need to reach out to the pros. right?
Exactly. It's a paid
And
consultation, right?
exactly, and it's a teamwork rather than just you trying to do yourself and getting burned and it's
100%. Well, last question before we go. If a friend of yours called you and said, "Listen, I have $100,000 that I want to invest into something in Toronto or whatnot, maybe a cottage," what would be your advice to that person?
Number one, being in the industry for the last 20 years, I never thought about this angle. People always talk about cash flow, cash flow, cash flow, and I never looked into, because when we were selling compared to purely on speculation and focusing, hey, average price for $800 per square feet going 1,000 goes to 1,500, 1,500 goes to 2,000. So I looked the history where $250 per square foot unit average price transform, we were selling all the way to 2,000. Now I tell them, underwriting guidelines, if you don't see a cash flow, forget about it. So if somebody is buying, like now coming to me with 100,000, I'd say, let's look for a resale where you can immediately rent it out, positive cash flow. That positive cash flow is pretty much like, you're paying off into your mortgage, your maintenance costs and everything, and you're sitting on, on an asset which is downtown Toronto. So we kind of narrow down to certain area, certain location, and certain buildings. And
most of them are in the downtown Toronto.
all of them are in downtown, and all of them are in a
We're in alignment with that.
in a decent proximity to subway line and more traffic through traffic walk score had to be at least 90-95 plus. And now I added extra recipe, which is it had to be Airbnb friendly.
There you go. And if you have a condo downtown Toronto and it is Airbnb friendly, we can turn it into a money making machine for you. Guest favorite superhost statuses. So reach out to us, link in the description below, and we'll help you out. Thank you so much for coming today. This was a lovely, very insightful conversation. I hope we have many of those in the future.
Absolutely. We will be doing a welcome seminar for anyone who have never done an Airbnb.
Excellent.
Also, they have never done an investment in the downtown Toronto, and especially also for first-time buyers also. And stay tuned for that information.
Love it. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.